Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Shop Life video blog. I'm Kevin from My Shop Assist and of course the Do It For a Living podcast. Last year we did several of these videos and they were really well received on YouTube and the Do It For a Living community, and so we wanted to do more of them this year. And to get started, I really wanted to emphasize something that we see a lot from talking to all your shops and visiting them, particularly at the PRI show. We see tons of you guys there. And something we have found is a lot of shops have a hard time implementing new processes. And you may understand the need to do it, but actually making the steps to do it is a whole nother thing. And once you've changed it, to stick with it until it becomes second nature is very hard to do. And so we wanted to go through those steps of, or at least getting started in changing some of these steps to set up a process for checking in vehicles or getting to work in and making sure that you have what you need, all the information to move forward with the job. And at a dealership, they have service advisors that do this sort of thing. And for smaller shops like us, it's usually the owner doing it and or one of your techs doing it. And so we want to put a system in place to make it very easy to do and save you time, so you're not having to double entry things and putting it all in one place so you have all the information you need. And particularly at machine shops and car stereo shops, where you're doing a lot of the same type of work over and over again, this gets very easy to do. And we'll demonstrate that here in how we do it through My Shop Assist. So in this video, this particular one, we're going to be focusing a lot on the software application of checking in vehicles. And of course, moving forward this year, we've got some other ideas for other podcasts we're going to do that vary in range from software to handling employees and just different processes at your shop that can be improved upon. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to add into my shop here, so I'm going to show you how to make a check-in task within MSA, so that way the next time a car comes in for you, you have the steps already written down in here, and it's really just checking boxes. And so we're going to go ahead and start by, I'm going to go to the gear, and I'm going to go to tasks, and I'm going to add a new task. And so in this case, we're just going to call it check-in. And I'm going to do an estimated hour of about a quarter an hour. So it shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes to do this. Probably take you 5 most of the time. Fixed price is just going to be 0. And we're going to add some things on this checklist on the right-hand side. So the checklist things, you're going to do like an exterior. You're going to do an interior inspection. You're going to want to check for check engine lights, the battery voltage, if there's anything else electronically wrong with it that you may want to know, like ABS lights, airbag lights, any of that sort of stuff. If you make note of it, it saves you a lot of headache later down the road. If you give the car back and the check engine light was on and it wasn't on when the customer dropped it off, they're going to be quite upset. It happens all the time to every shop there is if you don't make sure you made note of it when they drop the car off. And so what you want to do is put maybe check engine light in here. Okay. And we'll also, we're going to add another one for mechanical. So this would be like turning the car on, driving it, making sure it shifts through the gears. Like if it's a performance car, a lot of times you want to make sure it boosts a little bit. If it's there for a tune, you want to make sure it doesn't have any oil leaks, that sort of stuff. Just stuff you want to check for. So that way the customer knows that when they drop it off, that those are the things that you're going to be looking for. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to get a signature in this case. So we want the customer to sign off on what we checked for. And then on the left here, we have a checkbox for is job default. And I'm going to check that box. And that makes this task appear on your add job screen. And we'll show you exactly how that happens. It just makes it very easy to add this check-in process to every single car you add to your calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to go back to my homepage. And I'm going to add a job. Okay, so the first thing you do is you put the customer information. So I'm just going to put my own name. So put my name in here. I'm going to select my vehicle. And I'm going to put it on my calendar for Tuesday next week. So I just checked a little mini calendar. And you can see now on the bottom here, I have a task for check-in 0.25 hours. I also have several machine shop stuff in here, and I'm going to talk about that as soon as I get through this check engine one. But we're going to start with check-in for this vehicle, and I'm going to hit save. Okay, so now you can see inside of this job that I added, I have a check-in task. I can assign it to Todd if we need to do it. And we've got the check boxes that we put into the task. So as you walk around the car, you can check off an exterior inspection. You can check the interior, make sure there's no rips on the seats. You can make note of the check engine lights they may have, any mechanical problems. And then of course with the signature, what you can do is once you've checked these boxes off, if there's any dents or dings or whatever, you can use the camera. So we have the photos here, so you can make sure you take pictures of that stuff to document it. But once it's done, you want to go to the work order tab on the top here, scroll down to the bottom, click in person, and then you can go ahead and sign it. So we've got a customer signature now. And now we have them documenting the work we did, which means it's a lot less problems after you've dropped the car off, like dead batteries. In a machine shop's case, let's say they dropped off pistons and you documented that they had it, so that way you don't have any question on whether it gets lost or not, or if they didn't bring you pistons and they claim they did. So that sort of thing happens a lot, and if you've documented it all in the initial interaction with the customer, like when they drop the stuff off or send it to you in the package or whatever, you have all that information. Okay, so this works for cars, and it works for machine shops and transmission shops and car stereo. And I want to also point out these default tasks we made, how useful they are for shops that do a lot of the repetitive work. So in the case of machine shops, which I've been using a lot here as an example, because they do a lot of the same work, maybe on different types of engines, but it's still, you bore block on 10 different types of engines, it's still boring a block. So you can have a bore block tab or a default task on the bottom here, sleeve block, and you can get more detailed with this. You can make this list as long as you want. You could have 20 or 30 different items to check from on here, and it just makes it really fast for you to, when a customer comes in, you take their information, add them as a new customer or an existing customer. You can the title of the job may just be 4G63 block or 4B11. Who you want to assign it to, so your engine machinist or cylinder head guy. Put it on the calendar when you think you're going to be doing it, and then you just go to the bottom here and you just say, we're going to be boring this block, and we're going to be doing a short block assembly on it. And when you do that, we'll also do a check-in process for machine shop. Let me just add this on myself here, so that way we can go in and actually do this job. Okay, we're going to do a 4G63. And we'll hit save. Scheduled by me. Hit save. Okay, so we've got check-in machine shop. So I've got inspect block. So this would be when you when the customer drops off the block, you go in and look to make sure everything is, actually usable. Of course, if you don't do this right away, and then 3 weeks down the road when you're ready to do the work, and the block is correct, you've just wasted 3 weeks. If you had done this the first time they drop it off, you can say you need a new block immediately. You get the block ordered, and now you don't have to wait that time when you actually get to the project. So make sure you inspect the product you're going to be working on. Check in all the parts, of course. So your pistons, rods, bearings, whatever the customer supplies, and whatever you need to order, you would add to the job. Note specifications for customer I have on here. So that's a good one that, like, if the customer gives you the piston to wall clearance, you can go in and put what they want on here. If they want different compression ratio or whatever it may be, what valve springs they want to use. Put those notes in here so you have the information written down once. You don't have to call them back a week down the road asking them what questions they had, and then get their signature, right? So we've checked the boxes, you marked a machine shop check-in. One thing that you see a lot of is machine shops using like a build spec sheet. So this is just an example I printed off from the internet, but I've seen these from pretty much everybody who's building engines has something similar to it. When you're actually building the engine, you can use this sheet of paper still. Fill in all the information as you're doing it, and then just go into your short block assembly. And you can go ahead and you can just take the picture of the sheet here. And now you have all the information as a picture uploaded to your MSA task. And that makes it really easy to reference it if you ever have an issue with this engine that you need to go back and see like what the piston weight was to replace one piston. I've had to do that before on engines that I've done. But you have the information, you have a picture of it. It's probably pretty fast to write your build specs on this piece of paper as you go and just take a picture there. But you could also add comments and set up your checklist within MSA as well through your engine process building process. So yeah, that's it, guys. If you have any questions on the video or the content or anything that related to the software, just comment in the videos and we'll be sure to follow up with you and get the information you need. All right, thanks, guys.